The red dust of planet Zarian 7 swirled around Captain Lee Jinwoo's boots as he walked through the abandoned mining complex. His scanner beeped softly in the silence, searching for anything valuable among the twisted metal and broken machinery. 3 months alone on this dead world had taught him patience. But today felt different somehow. Jin-Woo stopped walking when he saw something that did not belong. Between 2 collapsed buildings, half buried under fallen rocks and metal sheets, was a ship. But this was not like any human ship he had ever seen. The hull was smooth and black, with curves that seemed to flow like water. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its sides, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. He approached carefully, his hand resting on the plasma cutter at his belt. The ship was badly damaged. Large holes had been torn through the hull, and one wing was completely missing. Whatever had happened here, it had been violent. As Jinwoo climbed through a breach in the side of the ship, his helmet light cut through the darkness inside. The interior was unlike anything he had seen before. The walls were covered in what looked like living crystal, and the controls seemed to grow from the floor, rather than being built into it. But what made him stop breathing was what he found in the center of the ship. She was lying on what might have been a medical table, though it looked more like a bed made of the same crystal material as the walls. At first glance, she appeared human, but Jinwoo quickly saw the differences. She was tall, much taller than him, with pale blue skin that had silver markings running along her arms and face. Her hair was pure white and fell past her shoulders. Most striking of all, she had 4 arms instead of 2. The lower pair was smaller and more delicate than the upper ones. She was breathing, but barely. Her chest rose and fell in short, painful gasps. Dark blue blood had dried on her clothes and pooled beneath the table. Jinwoo did not need to be a doctor to see that she was dying. He knelt beside her and gently touched her shoulder. Her eyes opened immediately, large and silver like polished metal. For a moment, they stared at each other in complete silence. Jinwoo saw fear in those strange eyes, but also something else. Hope, maybe. "Hey," he said softly, though he knew she probably could not understand him. "It's okay. I'm here to help." The woman tried to speak, but only a weak sound came out. Her lower arms moved slightly, as if trying to reach for something. Jinwoo looked around and saw a small device lying nearby. When he picked it up, it began to glow and made soft beeping sounds. The woman pointed at the device, then at her throat. Jinwoo guessed it was some kind of translator. He clipped it to her shirt, and immediately heard a mechanical voice speaking Korean. Who are you?" the voice said, though the woman's lips were barely moving. "My name is Jinwoo. I'm human, from Earth." He pulled out his medical kit, though he was not sure if human medicine would work on her. "What's your name? What happened here?" "I am, Kara." Her breathing was getting worse. "My people, they left me, said I failed them, said I brought shame." Jinwoo frowned as he began cleaning her wounds. "Left you? You mean they abandoned you here to die?" Kara's silver eyes filled with something that looked like tears. "In my culture, failure means death. Better to die than live without honor. They took the others and left me behind." "That's insane," Jinwoo said, applying bandages to the worst of her injuries. "Where I come from, we don't leave people behind, ever." "Your people are different," Kara whispered. "I watched you approach my ship. You could have taken what you wanted and left, but you came to help me." Jinwoo worked in silence for several minutes, using everything he knew about field medicine to keep her alive. Some of her wounds were beyond his ability to treat properly, but he did what he could. As he worked, he noticed that her silver markings seemed to pulse brighter when he touched them. "Why did your people abandon you?" he asked as he helped her sit up slowly. Kara's face showed pain, and not just from her injuries. "We were attacked by raiders. I was supposed to protect a supply convoy, but they had better weapons than expected. I lost 3 ships and most of the supplies." My commander said I was weak, that I had dishonored our military. So they just left you here to die because of one bad mission. One failure is enough. Among my people, honor is everything. Without it, you are nothing. Jinwoo shook his head. That's not how things work where I come from. Making mistakes is how people learn. Getting knocked down is what shows you how strong you really are. Kara stared at him with wonder. Your people think so differently. You saved someone you do not even know, from a species you have never seen before. Because it was the right thing to do, Jinwoo said simply. Can you walk? My ship is not far from here. You need real medical treatment. As he helped her stand, Kara looked at him with growing respect. You are not like what my people said about humans. They called you primitive, weak. Jinwoo smiled. Maybe we are, but we're also stubborn as hell. 2 weeks passed slowly aboard Jinwoo's small salvage ship as it drifted through empty space. The ship was not built for comfort, with cramped quarters and basic life support, but it was home. Kara spent most of her time in the medical bay, healing from wounds that would have killed most beings. Jinwoo watched her with growing fascination. Her people, the Veltar, were clearly more advanced than humans in many ways. Her wounds healed much faster than human injuries would, and she seemed to understand his ship's systems after just a few days of observation. But there was something broken in her spirit that no medicine could fix. Your people, Kara said one morning as Jinwoo brought her breakfast, they really come back for their wounded. Jinwoo set down the tray of simple food. Always. Even if it means risking more lives. We have a saying, leave no one behind. Kara's lower arms twisted together, which Jinwoo had learned was a sign of distress among her kind. I do not understand this. If someone fails their mission, they become a danger to others. It is logical to abandon them. Logic isn't everything, Jinwoo replied, sitting down across from her. Sometimes, the right thing to do doesn't make sense on paper. Over the following days, Kara began to move around the ship more. She watched Jinwoo work on repairs and maintenance with intense curiosity. When a water recycler broke down, she expected him to replace it with a new one. Instead, she watched in amazement as he took it apart and rebuilt it, using spare parts from 3 different systems. This should not work, she said, examining his repair job with all 4 hands. Jinwoo grinned and turned on the recycler. Clean water flowed out immediately. But it does work. That's what matters. Your people fix things that are broken instead of throwing them away, when we can. Resources are precious. You learn to make do with what you have. Kara was quiet for a long time after that. Jinwoo could see her thinking, processing this new way of looking at the world. Among her people, apparently, things that broke were simply replaced. People who failed were abandoned. It was efficient, but it seemed cold to him. Tell me about your failure, Jinwoo said one evening, as they shared dinner. Kara's silver eyes dimmed. We were escorting supply ships through the outer rim. Intelligence said the area was clear of raiders. But they were waiting for us with ships we had never seen before. Fast, heavily armed, with weapons that cut through our shields like they were nothing. How many ships did you have? 5 escort fighters and the supply convoy. The raiders had at least 15 ships, maybe more. Kara's voice became quiet. I should have retreated immediately when we saw them, but the supplies were needed badly on the colony worlds. Medicine, food, equipment for terraforming. Thousands of people would suffer if we lost them. Jinwoo nodded. So you fought. I fought. I ordered my pilots to form a defensive screen around the convoy, while I sent a distress signal. But the raiders were too fast, too strong. They destroyed 2 of my fighters in the first minute. Then they started targeting the supply ships. What did you do then? Kara's lower arms began twisting again. I broke formation, left my assigned position to try to save one of the supply ships that was under heavy attack. I managed to drive off the raiders attacking it, but while I was gone, They destroyed the other 3 supply ships, and another of my fighters. You saved 1 ship and the people on it. I lost 4 ships, and most of the supplies. My commander said I should have maintained formation and accepted the losses. That my decision to break ranks showed weakness and poor judgment. Ginwu was quiet for a moment. How many people were on that ship you saved? 43 colonists. Families with children. Then you made the right choice. Kara stared at him. I failed my mission. I lost ships and cargo that were worth millions of credits. You saved 43 lives. That's worth more than all the credits in the galaxy. My people do not see it that way. They said I was emotional, irrational, that a proper military officer would have followed orders and maintained discipline. Ginwu leaned forward. Let me tell you something about humans. We're emotional and irrational all the time. We make decisions with our hearts as much as our heads. And you know what? Sometimes that saves us when pure logic would get us killed. Over the next few days, Jinwu began teaching Kara about human culture and philosophy. He showed her old movies on his tablet, stories about heroes who broke rules to do what was right. He told her about human military history, about soldiers who disobeyed orders to save civilians, about commanders who sacrificed strategic advantages to bring their people home alive. Your species is very strange, Kara said one day, as she helped him repair a sensor array. You choose compassion over efficiency. Usually, Jinwu agreed, though we can be efficient when we need to be. But you believe that protecting the weak is more important than completing missions. We believe that the mission doesn't matter if you lose your soul accomplishing it. Kara worked in silence for several minutes, her forehands moving with precise coordination. Finally, she spoke again. I think I am beginning to understand why the universe has not conquered your people yet. You are much stronger than you appear, Jinwu smiled. We're also much more stubborn than we appear. Yes, Kara said, and for the first time since he had found her, she smiled back. I am learning this about humans. The attack came just as Jinwu was finishing his morning inspection of the ship's hull. He was floating outside in his spacesuit, checking for micrometeor damage, when his proximity alarms started screaming. 3 sleek ships dropped out of hyperspace, moving fast and heading straight for them. Jinwu, get back inside now. Kara's voice crackled through his comm system. Even through the static, he could hear the fear in her voice. He looked at the approaching ships through his helmet display. They were the same design as the ones Kara had described from her failed mission. The raiders had found them. I'm too far from the airlock, Jinwu said, pushing off from the hull toward his ship. They'll be on us before I can get inside. Then hold on to something, Kara replied. Jinwu barely had time to grab a maintenance rail before his salvage ship suddenly came alive in ways he never knew it could. Hidden weapon systems emerged from panels he thought were just storage compartments. The engines, which normally moved the ship slowly and carefully, roared to life with power that pressed him against the hull. Through his helmet display, Ginwu watched in amazement as Kara flew his ship like it was a fighter craft instead of a slow salvage vessel. She spun and twisted through space, dodging energy blasts that lit up the darkness around them. Weapons he did not even know he had returned fire at the raiders, but they were still outnumbered 3-1, and the raiders had better ships. Kara, there's an asteroid field about 10 minutes from here, Jinwu said into his comm. Can you get us there? That's suicide. The gravitational fields in there will tear us apart. Trust me. I've been through there before. There was a pause. Jinwu could hear weapons fire and the sound of his ship's hull taking damage. Finally, Kara's voice came back. Human logic again. The most human logic you'll ever see. Kara changed course, diving toward the asteroid field with all 3 raiders following. Ginwu held on tight as his ship twisted and turned through space at speeds that should have broken it apart. But Kara's piloting was perfect, every movement precise and controlled. When we get to the field, follow my directions exactly, Jin said. There are gravity wells in there that don't show up on most scanners. How do you know about them? I've been salvaging ships from that field for 2 years. I know every rock and every trap. They plunged into the asteroid field with the raiders close behind. Jinwoo guided Kara through the maze of floating rocks, using passages he had memorized from dozens of previous trips. The raiders followed, their superior ships easily matching their course. Now dive straight down, Jinwoo instructed, as they approached a cluster of large asteroids. There's nothing but solid rock down there. Trust me. Kara dove. The raiders followed, confident in their ability to match any maneuver. But what they could not see was the invisible gravity well that lurked between the asteroids, created by a dense metal core that Jinwoo had discovered months ago. 2 of the raider ships were caught immediately, pulled into the gravity well, and crushed against the hidden metal core. The 3rd ship managed to pull away, but not before colliding with a small asteroid that sent it spinning out of control. Now what? Kara asked, as they emerged from the other side of the field. Now we finish this, Jinwoo said. He was already moving along the hull, toward the ship's salvage equipment. Bring us around behind that spinning ship. What are you planning? Something stupid. Jinwoo activated the ship's salvage claws, massive mechanical arms designed for grabbing pieces of wrecked spacecraft. But instead of grabbing the raider ship, he used the claws to grab a small asteroid and hurl it at the spinning raider like a massive stone. The asteroid struck the raider ship's engine section, causing a chain of explosions that lit up space. The raider ship went dark and began drifting helplessly. Incredible, Kara said, as Jinwoo finally made it back to the airlock. Your people fight like this often. Only when we have to, Jinwoo replied, pulling off his helmet. Only when there's something worth fighting for. Kara was waiting for him in the airlock, and for the first time since he had found her, she looked at him with something that might have been respect. You risked your life to save me, she said. Even though I am not your people, not your responsibility. You're my friend, Jinwoo said simply. That makes you my responsibility, friend. Kara repeated the word like she was tasting something new. Is this another human concept? One of our most important ones. Over the next few hours, as they repaired damage from the battle, Kara asked Jinwoo many questions about friendship and loyalty. She could not understand how humans could form such strong bonds with people they had only known for a short time. Among my people, trust must be earned over years of service, she explained, as she helped him weld a damaged hull plate. Loyalty is given only to those who prove themselves in many battles. Humans are different, Jinwoo said. Sometimes we just know when someone is worth trusting, even when logic says otherwise. Especially then. Kara worked in silence for several minutes, her forearms moving with perfect coordination as she helped with the repairs. Finally, she spoke again. I think I am beginning to understand this concept of friendship. Good, Jinwoo said. Because I have a feeling we're going to need each other before this is over. The massive Veltar space station appeared on their view screen like a floating city made of crystal and metal. Jinwoo had never seen anything so beautiful or intimidating in his life. The station was enormous, easily 10 times larger than any human structure, with flowing curves and towers that seemed to twist through space like frozen music. This is a terrible idea, Jinwoo said for what felt like the 100th time as they approached the station. Kara's hands were steady on the controls, but he could see the tension in her shoulders. I cannot live as a shadow forever, Jinwoo. Better to face death with dignity than hide in shame. But what if they just shoot us on sight? Then we die quickly instead of slowly. Jinwoo was not comforted by this answer. As they got closer to the station, warning signals began flashing on their control panel. A voice spoke in the musical Veltar language through their communications system. They are telling us to identify ourselves, or be destroyed, Kara translated. She took a deep breath and activated the comm system. When she spoke, her voice carried an authority that Jinwoo had never heard from her before. "This is Commander Kara of the 7th Fleet, requesting permission to dock and speak with War Leader Park Dong-haen." Silence filled the comm channel for several long seconds. Then a different voice responded, speaking much faster than before. "They say that Commander Kara is dead." She translated for Jinwoo. "They are demanding that we submit to boarding or be fired upon." "Tell them you have important information about the raiders," Jinwoo suggested. Kara nodded and spoke again into the comm. This time the response came quickly. "We are cleared to dock at Base 7, but they are sending a full security team to meet us." 20 minutes later, they stood in the docking bay, surrounded by a dozen Veltar warriors in full battle armor. Their weapons were not pointed directly at Jinwoo and Kara, but they were ready to fire at the first sign of trouble. The leader of the security team removed his helmet, revealing a face marked with the same silver patterns as Kara's, but arranged in different designs. When he saw Kara, his 4 eyes went wide with shock. "Impossible," he whispered. "We saw your ship destroyed. We saw the explosion. Yet here I stand, Major Kim Minho," Kara replied. Her voice was calm, but Jinwoo could see her lower arms trembling slightly. "Alive, though not thanks to the unit that abandoned me." Minho's gaze shifted to Jinwoo, and his expression immediately changed to disgust. "You bring a primitive alien before our command. Have you lost all sense of honor?" "This human saved my life," Kara said firmly. "He risked his own safety too, helped someone he had never met. You will show him respect." "Respect for this creature?" Minho's voice was filled with contempt. "Humans are barely more advanced than animals. They have no understanding of honor or proper conduct." Jinwoo felt his temper rising, but Kara placed one of her hands on his arm in warning. This was her fight, not his. "You speak of honor," Kara said, her voice growing harder. "Where was the honor in leaving me to die without even checking if I survived? Where was the honor in abandoning a fellow officer based on incomplete information?" Minho's face flushed with anger. "You failed in your mission. You brought shame to the 7th Fleet. The regulations are clear about such failures." "The regulations," Kara repeated. "Yes? Let us discuss the regulations before War Leader Park. I demand a formal hearing to clear my name and present new evidence about the raider attacks." Minho looked like he wanted to refuse, but military protocol was apparently the same among the Veltar as it was among humans. A formal request for a hearing could not be denied. "Very well," he said reluctantly. "But the alien stays in detention. The human comes with me," Kara said firmly. "He is a witness to events that are vital to the defense of our space." "Absolutely not. We do not allow primitives into our command centers." Jinwoo had heard enough. He stepped forward, ignoring the weapons that immediately swung toward him. "Major," he said in his best military voice, "I understand your concerns about security, but I have information about raider tactics and technology that could save Veltar lives. Isn't the safety of your people more important than your prejudices?" Minho stared at him in surprise. Apparently, he had not expected the primitive human to speak so directly. "You dare to lecture me about the safety of my people?" "I dare to offer help when it's needed," Jinwoo replied. "Whether you're smart enough to accept it is up to you." For a moment, Jinwoo thought Minho might order his guards to shoot, but Kara stepped between them. "The human speaks truth," she said. "He has tactical knowledge that helped us defeat 3 raider ships with a single unarmed vessel. If you care more about protocol than results, then perhaps you are the one who has forgotten what honor truly means." Minho's face went through several different expressions before settling on reluctant acceptance. "The hearing will be in 1 hour," he said finally. "Both of you will be escorted to the command chamber. Any attempt to cause trouble will be met with immediate force." As they were led through the crystal corridors of the station, Jinwoo leaned over to whisper to Kara, Are you sure about this? We could still leave. Kara looked at him with something that might have been gratitude. I am sure, she said. For the first time in my life, I know exactly what I am fighting for. The command chamber of the Veltar station was designed to intimidate. Crystal walls rose high above them, catching and reflecting light in patterns that seemed to move and shift. A semicircle of war leaders sat on raised platforms, their faces stern and unforgiving. At the center sat war leader Park Dong-hyeon, whose authority could decide the fate of entire star systems. Jinwoo felt very small and very human in this place of alien power. Beside him, Kara stood straight and proud, but he could see the tension in her posture. This was her last chance to reclaim her honor, and they both knew it. Commander Kara Dong-hyeon's voice echoed through the chamber. You stand accused of cowardice, failure of duty, and bringing dishonor to the 7th Fleet. The evidence against you is clear. Your convoy was destroyed, your ships were lost, and you abandoned your post. With respect, war leader, the evidence is incomplete, Kara replied. She activated a holographic display that showed the battle from her ship's recordings. The raiders knew our patrol routes, our communication codes, our defensive formations. This was not a random attack. Someone gave them information about our operations. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Jinwoo could see some of the war leaders leaning forward with interest. Even if this is true, another war leader said, you still failed in your mission. You broke formation and disobeyed tactical doctrine. I saved 43 lives, Kara said firmly, including 15 children who were traveling to the colony, worlds with their families. You lost 4 ships and valuable cargo, the war leader countered. One transport with civilians does not balance against such losses. Jinwoo felt his anger rising. These people spoke about lives like they were just numbers on a balance sheet. But before he could say anything, Kara continued. This human could have left me to die, she said, gesturing toward Jinwoo. By your logic, I was already dead, a failure, unworthy of help. But humans do not think like we do. They see value where we see only shame. They see hope where we see only failure. Primitive thinking, war leader Kim Sung-min said with contempt. Emotional weakness that clouds proper judgment. That was when the alarms began to sound. Emergency lights flashed throughout the chamber as a voice announced over the communication system. Multiple raider ships detected at system perimeter. Estimated fleet size, 30 vessels. All defensive units to battle stations. Chaos erupted in the chamber. War leaders began shouting orders and demanding status reports. Through the crystal walls, Jinwoo could see the station's defensive fleet scrambling to launch. 30 ships, Dong-hyeon said grimly as tactical displays appeared in the air above them. Our defensive fleet has only 18 vessels. We cannot match their numbers. Jinwoo studied the approaching raider formation on the displays. Something about their movement patterns looked familiar. War leader, he said, stepping forward despite the guards who moved to stop him. These aren't just raiders anymore. Someone has been organizing them, training them, turning them into a real military force. And what would a primitive human know about military tactics? Seong-min sneered. More than you might think, Jinwoo replied. He pointed to the tactical display. Look at their formation. It's designed to break through your defensive line at the weakest point, then spread out to attack from multiple directions. Your current defensive plan plays right into their strategy. Dong-hyeon studied the display with growing concern. What do you suggest? Don't try to match them ship for ship. Use the station itself as a weapon. Your defensive grid isn't just for protection. It can be turned into an offensive system if you coordinate it properly. Impossible, another war leader said. The defensive grid was not designed for offensive operations. It doesn't matter what it was designed for, Jinwoo said. What matters is what it can do. Kara, show them the recording of how we defeated those 3 raider ships. Kara activated another holographic display, showing their battle in the asteroid field. The war leaders watched in amazement as Jinwoo used the salvage ship's equipment in ways it was never intended to be used. Human tactical thinking is different from ours, Kara explained. They do not limit themselves to what equipment is supposed to do. They use whatever they have in whatever way works. The battle began. 15 minutes later, Jinwoo found himself in the station's command center, working alongside Veltar tactical officers who had stopped treating him like a primitive alien and started listening to his suggestions. The raiders attacked exactly as Jinwoo had predicted, trying to break through the defensive line with concentrated force. But instead of meeting them head-on, the Veltar fleet pulled back, drawing the raiders into range of the station's defensive grid. What happened next had never been attempted before. The station's defensive systems, designed to create protective barriers, were reconfigured to create offensive energy fields. The raiders found themselves trapped in a web of energy that turned their own speed and aggression against them. The battle was over in less than an hour. Half the raider fleet was destroyed, and the rest fled into hyperspace. In the aftermath, as damaged raider ships drifted in space and the station's defenders returned to dock, war leader Dong Hyen approached Jinwoo and Kara in the command center. "Commander, Kara," he said formally, "your honor is fully restored. Your actions today have proven your worth beyond any doubt." Then he turned to Jinwoo, "And you, Captain Lee Jinwoo, have shown us that wisdom comes in many forms. The Veltar High Command formally offers alliance to the people of Earth." Kara smiled, the first truly happy expression Jinwoo had seen from her. "I request assignment as permanent liaison between our peoples. There is much we can learn from each other." Jinwoo looked out at the stars through the crystal walls of the command center. Somewhere out there were more wounded and abandoned souls, waiting for someone to care enough to find them. "I think humanity would be honored by such an alliance," he said.